This is 1 year ago today. If you're new here, I explain what happened 1 year ago today with some side topics. The topics of the day are top news story headlines, daily holidays, some history from a bit more than 1 year ago today, and the COVID-19 topic. Let's get into 1 year ago today. There were a few interesting headlines, and I just wanted to warn you though that all of these are either about politics or COVID-19. First, the Nevada caucus. Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucus, and two of the most viewed stories from 1 year ago today were about this topic. If you remember from a previous video, a news story headline said that Nevada didn't like Bernie Sanders' slogan. However, he managed to win the caucus, so this came as a surprise, which is probably why it's one of the top headlines. Do you remember when all this stuff wasn't actually 1 year ago today, but today? Well, hopefully that brought back stuff you previously forgotten, and you can always let us know down in the comments below. The next headline from 1 year ago today is something we've also talked about a bit. Very recently, the passengers from the Diamond cruise ship in Japan were let off the boat after the COVID-19 pandemic raged on there. The article titled, quote-unquote, How a Coronavirus Ravaged a Cruise Ship. It was just an article summarizing of what happened, and since we've already gotten into detail about this when it happened then, I will not go into any more detail again. But if you did not watch that video from one of the videos that was released, it is titled The COVID Cruise Ship. The last piece of news from 1 year ago today is also about COVID-19. This one focuses on healthcare workers. If you remember, in the beginning of the pandemic, hospitals were overflowing of patients. Now, an article came out that healthcare workers are working together to help stop the pandemic. Some of the things they did was help spread the message, warning about it. However, these messages weren't heard as widely as they probably hoped to understand that matter, coronavirus still raged afterward. However, it is a pretty depressing story to think about, so I'm going to end the report here. Well, that's all for the news from 1 year ago today. Do you remember when all this stuff wasn't just 1 year ago today, but actually today? You can always let us know down in the comments below. And remember, the entire point of this channel is to do that, and hopefully bring back memories you previously forgotten. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy the daily holidays just as much as you enjoyed today. For the daily holidays, all the daily holidays are about dogs, which is awesome, and to celebrate that, there will be one dog montage at the end of all of this, so make sure to look forward to that. The daily holidays today are International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day, National Dog Biscuit Day, and International Spay Day. First, International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day, and I'm also going to add National Dog Biscuit Day because they're basically the same thing. The dog biscuit was invented in the 19th century by James Spratt. This cake-like biscuit is made of meat, grains, and vegetables. It was developed over time, so the first version isn't exactly the same as we see today. And since this is an international holiday, everyone watching out there needs to give their dog a special treat. I'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video and do so, and I know that your dog will love it. 3, 2, 1. This day is probably the best day for dogs, at least I think. I can't tell you how happy they'll probably be. And if you want to try something disgusting, then try eating this dog biscuit yourself. You are going to hate it. Now, just trust me on that. Well, the next day, the holiday from 1 year ago today is International Spay Day, and I'm just going to show this blooper picture so no one gets uncomfortable. It's kind of sad thinking about a dog getting spayed, but it actually is for their own good. This keeps millions of dogs from becoming homeless and ending up in a pound. Speaking of that, you should adopt a pet of your own. There are many shelters that need dogs to be adopted. So I'm going to play a quick 15-second montage, 15-picture montage, my bad, of some dogs that will hopefully convince you to help stop dog homelessness. Montage time. Well, before we can go into the next part of this video, which is just basically the ending quote, I just wanted to say, did you guys notice my mistake? If you did, then the answer was I did not actually put 15 pictures in that montage. Well, anyways, let's get right back into it. Whether it's by actually adopting a pet yourself, volunteering, or donating, go help your local dog shelters. Today is all about dogs, so to celebrate that, hopefully you'll enjoy the history just as much as you enjoyed this. Yes, I know that's not about dogs, but still, celebrate dogs. Let's get right into the history. In 1804, the conspirators were plotting to restore the French king, Louis XVIII, not Louis XVI, and overthrow Napoleon. Well, this period is a bit weird, so let's jump right into it. So it originally started with the First French Revolution. The upper class and the king were throwing huge lavish parties, and they were only able to do so off the backs of the poor. This caused the people to force the king to give them rights. They originally wanted to make a constitutional monarchy, but King Louis XVI, attempting to flee to the Austrian Netherlands, made the people overthrow him and execute him. They then replaced the monarchy with a republic, which didn't turn out very well. Their leader, Maximum Robespierre, was a little insane. During all of this, a certain soldier was rising in the ranks. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. He eventually rose to power as the emperor and overtook most of Western Europe and created puppet states. During that time, before Napoleonic Wars, there were many attempts to place the king back on the throne, even one of Britain's help. However, these attempts all failed, but there's one last thing to point out. Why did we call King Louis XVIII, King Louis XVIII, if he was never France? He was never the king of France. That's the thing, children. The French monarchy was restored. Louis XVIII was placed on throne from 1814 to 1824, and it was humongous, and we're talking about Henry VIII big. Then, until the monarchies overthrew in 1830, King Charles V was the king. By the way, these guys are both brothers of King Louis XVIII. Well, there is one last thing. There is one last king, King Louis XIX. Louis Antoine, Duke of Angoulême, was actually the king for 20 minutes, making him the shortest reign of monarch over the world, from King Charles V's abdication, until his own 20 minutes later. During this time, his wife was telling King Louis XIX not to, while his father, Charles V, was in tears. The monarchy was replaced with a more liberal monarchy, with Louis Philippe as their king. Now let's jump into Spain, kids. In 1981, a coup d'etat by a group called Tajarazo failed while the King of France, Juan Carlos I, was doing a televised speech. The allies to the kingdom were the Civil Guard, Spanish Armed Forces, and National Police Corps. The king was suspected the European Economic Community, NATO, by the United States. The enemies were the Neo-Francoist Civil Guard and Armed Forces, the rebel from the Civil Guard, and the Capatace General of Valencia. They had been trying to overthrow Permanente monarchy since the death of the dictator Francisco Franco, in which the royal family, King Juan Carlos, Queen Sofia, Felipe, Prince of Asturias, and two infants, Elena and Frederica, were brought back. This happened in little time and deep economic crisis, instability of a government party, and the terrorist attacks of the ETA. Along the other parts of the military, King Juan I was allies. At around 6 p.m. on Monday, February 23rd, 1981, the Congress of Deputies were ready for voting the Prime Minister, who would be Leopoldo Sotelero. They were taking roll at this time. At 6:23, 200 Civil Guard agents stormed the building in Luente, Carlo Antonio Tejero. They broke into the hemicycle, or where they were talking, and voted everyone stand still. 350 deputies were held hostage for 18 hours, in which King Carlos I was giving a televised speech to address the coup. He began the speech at 1:15 and was addressing his people. A little bit earlier, General Alfonso Aranda had entered the parliament to negotiate the siege. Those 350 deputies were set free after 18 hours, where fear had overtaken to attempt to overthrow the parliamentary monarchy. In the end, the coup failed, and the king of his parliament was safe. For the birthdays today, we have the Japanese Emperor Naruhito in 1960, whose country would have hosted the Olympics 1 year ago today if it were not for COVID-19, which is the next topic, in fact. This is the section of the video where we look at how COVID-19 was 1 year ago today. First, we'll look at the cases, then the death toll. 1 year ago today, the world gained 1,017 new cases, bumping up their total to 78,811. United States gained 0 cases, keeping their total at 30. India gained 0 cases, keeping their total at 3. Brazil gained 0 cases, having a total of 0. Russia is 0-2. United Kingdom gained 5 cases, bumping up their total to 28. France gained 0 cases, having a total of 12. Turkey gained 0 cases, having a total of 0. Italy gained 93 cases, bumping up their total to 155. Spain gained 0 cases, keeping their total at 2. Germany gained 0 cases, having a total of 16. Colombia 0-0, just like Argentina. Mexico gained 0 cases and had a total of 0. Canada gained 0 cases, having a total of 9. Australia gained 0 cases, having a total of 21. Israel gained 0 cases, having a total of 1. South Korea gained 169 cases, bumping up their total to 602. Iran gained 15 cases, bumping up their total to 43. Taiwan gained 2 cases, bumping up their total to 28. Now for the death toll. 1 year ago today, the world gained 103 new deaths, bumping up their total to 2,462. The United States gained 0 deaths, having a total of 0. India is the same result, same like Brazil and Russia. And the United Kingdom, France gained 0 case deaths, having a total of 1. Turkey 0-0. Italy gained 1 death, having a total of 3. Germany 0-0, just like the rest of the countries on this list, which is very fortunate. Anyways, that's all for the COVID-19 topic. I really hope you enjoyed, and hopefully you will also enjoy the conclusion. This is the conclusion of the video. It's kind of boring, so you can click off if you want to, but there is one more thing I'd like to tell you. If we can all agree that dogs are just awesome and that this dog is just extremely cute, then make sure to give this video a like and share with your friends. Yeah, I know, it's kind of dumb. But anyways, that's the end of the video, so goodbye. And also, if you'd like to subscribe, make sure to scroll down and click that red button to make it gray.